Tom? Good evening. This is the Board of Trustees regular meeting. It's November 14th, 2017 at 7:30 PM on the dot. This is meeting number 2017-20. Clerk Quinlan, please take the roll.
President Barry?
Here.
Trustee Strite? Here. Trustee Stalker?
Here.
Trustee Olenichik?
Here.
Trustee Desmond?
Here.
Trustee Phelan? Here. Trustee Vorder?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thanks. Would everyone rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have public comments on the agenda next. I'm going to start with just asking our attorney, Kevin Casey, to just say a few words before the comments, and then we'll go right into those who have signed up. If anyone wants to speak, they should have signed in. So, Kevin?
Good evening, distinguished board, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of familiar faces from the last time we were in this room together. I just want to take this opportunity, as many of you are aware, and we all know the reason most of you are here, is to discuss an ordinance that's before you and before this board. Since the Planning and Development Committee meeting back on November 6th, there's been a lot of dialogue with residents, with various pastors. There have been in-person meetings with Pastor Peggy, Tina Rounds, who I'm sure is here in the audience this evening, and several others. As a result of this dialogue, there have been some proposed amendments that are being presented to the board this evening relative to the ordinance, and I just wanted to outline these proposed changes, which may assist in some of the dialogue later on this evening during public comment. First, under section 4-16-4, license required, the proposed change is to require a start date of October 1, 2018 for current shelters to seek a license from the village. Under section 4-16-5F, this is a paragraph that requested a preference, a statement of a preference. The proposed language will now read, a statement that it will maintain a policy of making reasonable efforts to accommodate persons previously residing in the village of Oak Lawn. Third, under section 4-16-14, titled Records and Reports, that entire paragraph is sought to be deleted and replaced with the following language. Every licensee shall be required to keep and maintain a record for a period of 7 years. Data, including but not limited to a list of names of all persons who stay overnight at the shelter and the dates of stay. That is the entirety of that paragraph. Next, we have hours of operation under 4-16-17. That entire paragraph is sought and recommended to be deleted and replaced with the following language. A temporary overnight shelter may operate on and between the days of October 1 and April 30th, and between the hours of 7 o'clock p.m. and 7 o'clock a.m. In the event of inclement weather, safety, or traffic flow concerns, the operating manager may temporarily extend the operating days or hours of temporary overnight shelters once per 48-hour per site, provided that such extension does not extend the permitted days of operation by more than 7 days or the hours of operation by more than 72 consecutive hours. No owner, operator, or manager of a temporary overnight shelter shall allow any person to remain in the temporary overnight shelter for a period in excess of 12 consecutive hours, exclusive of the above temporary extensions. And finally, under section 4-16-18, relative to medical care, that entire paragraph is sought to be deleted, recommended to be deleted, and replaced with the following language. It shall be unlawful for any person to provide as part of the regular accommodations or services of any temporary overnight shelter, any medical care or treatment, nursing care, or other health care, or health-related care. Nothing contained in with this section shall prohibit any person from obtaining emergency medical care or treatment for any occupant or temporary overnight shelter in the event of an emergency. Any treatment related to counseling services and the administration of flu shots by licensed professionals may be excluded from the prohibitions in this chapter. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, that concludes the proposed recommended changes for your ordinance, and I thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Kevin. We'll start with public comments. We have first Pastor Peggy McClanahan with Pilgrim Faith Church. And the way our public comments work per code is individuals have 3 minutes, and we have a timer, and, you know, we don't give you the hook right at 3 minutes, but we do have a lot of people who want to comment, so we want to keep that limited as much as we can. Pastor Peggy, thank you. Could state your name and let us know if you live in Oak Lawn, please.
Okay. Yes, my name is Peggy McClanahan. I'm pastor of Faith United Church of Christ, and I've lived in Oak Lawn for 23 years. 20 years ago, the village asked the pastors in Oak Lawn to meet with them and see what we could develop to address the problems with homelessness in Oak Lawn, because there were some unmet needs, and homeless person had frozen to death that year. And we did meet, we did develop a system of shelters. I was very actively involved in developing that system. And I want to thank the village for working with us so well over all these years. We have had a very good system of shelters that we're part of throughout the southwest suburbs. We have operated in Oak Lawn with tremendous cooperation from the village, from the police department, the fire department, the paramedics. It really has been a great team effort. I know that this ordinance has generated a whole lot of heat over the last few weeks because we all feel very passionately about wanting to care properly for people and care properly for all the residents of Oak Lawn. I want to thank the trustees and the mayor and others for taking the time to listen to all of those who have tried to speak with them, who have sent letters. It has not always been easy conversations, and it's not always been pleasant, but I commend all of you for working with us on this, for hearing many of the concerns that we have had, and for making a genuine effort to address as many of those concerns as you thought were possible. And I think that we have made a lot of progress on this ordinance, and I thank all of you for that. I think what we're going to need going forward is just to continue to work together. I don't think we have a perfect ordinance. I think we're going to have to see what happens as we implement. I know nobody wants to make the churches of Oak Lawn stop doing their ministries, about which we feel so passionately. So I guess that's my plea tonight, is that we continue to be able to work together on this, to refine it if we need to address variations if we need to just make it possible for the churches of Oak Lawn and all the people of Oak Lawn to come together in such a way that we can make sure that not only those of us who have houses and apartments to live in have adequate shelter, but that all the folks in Oak Lawn are well taken care of and have adequate shelter too. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next is David Faulkner-Wood.
Faulkner, just Faulkner.
Faulkner, okay.
No Wood, I must have messed up my address.
Okay, that's from the address, okay.
Yep.
Hi, if you could state your name in the microphone and let us know if you're an Oak Lawn resident.
David Faulkner. I am not an Oakland resident. I used to be one. To piggyback on a little bit on what Pastor Peggy said, I have been a member of Pilgrim Faith Church for 17 years. My family's been a member for almost 20. I haven't had the opportunity to volunteer in the shelters, but my father does. I've seen many of my friends and, of course, my church family are heavily involved in the bed shelters. And since have so many, Pilgrim Faith Church is so important to me. I was married 1 year ago in that church, and I've kind of grown up in the church, even if I haven't grown up in the church. So the beds ministry is very important to me. And I feel as a Christian, one of the things that we impart on others and we teach to the younger generations is to care for those in need. To be fair, I haven't really, brushed up on what the changes are. However, I do feel that the ordinance is very restrictive into what sort of care that the faith communities can give to people out there, and I would strongly urge the Board of Trustees and Mayor Burry to please reconsider these restrictive constraints on the faith communities who want to serve those that are truly in need, especially during this holiday season. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, it looks like Jennifer, is it Rickenberg? Hi, Jennifer, come on up. Hi, Jennifer. If you could state your name, let us know if you live in Oak Lawn. Thank you.
Jennifer Rickenberg. Right now I'm homeless.
Okay.
Never thought I'd ever be homeless. Never wanted anybody to be homeless. I want to thank the officers. I want to thank the community. I want to thank kind people who were merciful to me when they didn't even know my name. My name never used to be homeless. And you know what? It steals your dignity when you're the person who don't know who you are anymore because you're not sure where you're supposed to be anymore. I have health conditions, but often you go to the places you think can help you. You think Social Security might be able to help me. Maybe if you could just find somebody that won't mind that you don't walk so good. Maybe they'd want to hire you. Maybe if you go to volunteer somewhere, maybe they'd want you to be there. And when you're homeless, and when you don't have very good health, and you're not really sure what you'll be able to do in the course of a day, when you have somebody that says, you know what, you look hungry, I'll give you some food. You know what, you look like you need a kind word, and they're kind to you. When you have somebody come up to you and say, we're just checking on you to make sure you're okay. When you have somebody that say, I just want you to have a safe place. When you just have people that stand up and say, we were just trying to be there for you. When you don't even feel like you have much to give them back. Sometimes all you can give people is a thank you. But for all the people that were out there that are just kind to people because people need it, you made a difference even if people couldn't tell you thank you. There will be some of them out there that are in such a lost place that they can't thank you, but you make a difference. And if anybody tells you that when, we make our ordinances, but then you know what? People have to live with the consequences. And you know what? There's some people that if there wasn't a shelter, they'd be sleeping on the streets and they wouldn't know where to get their food. There's some people that they will turn to a garbage can because that's their only choice. There will be people that will sleep on the ground and they won't even try to clean up anymore because they can't get out of the elements. There'll be people that'll literally get to a point where they believe nobody believes in them. And you know what? Those people, in the end, are still somebody's family. They're still somebody, even if they don't believe it anymore. And you know what? For all the people that are kind to somebody and made a difference, even if you're kind to them, sometimes that's more kindness than they've found in a long time. And you know what? Everybody that's here that has made a difference, there's a lot of places that don't have the help that people are giving. And you know what? It's not just one person's issue. It's something that has a ripple effect. So for all the people that were kind and made a difference, thank you. Because we make choices every day. And the world we live in is the world we make. So the people that actually went out and they were kind, thank you for the impact you make, because there's some people that, you know what, needed it more than you'll ever know. So I just want to thank you for the people that couldn't be here, because for everyone you helped, you made a difference that they'll never forget, whether they could thank you at the time or not. So I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate it. Next is Dan Schaller. We're going to have an orderly meeting. Thank you. Gilbert Rivera. Hi, Gilbert. Please come up. Let us state your name, please, in the microphone, and let us know if you live in Oak Lawn, sir.
Gilbert Rivera. I live in Chicago Ridge. I've been there about 20 years. It took me about 5 years. I was looking for a good church to raise my kids in, to bring them up in church and be part of the community. And I found St. Mark Lutheran Church in Worth. It's a great church. My kids love it. They volunteer. They're part of the church. So my boys sing and choir. And I also show them to volunteer for the shelter. And most of my kids, all my kids have joined at the shelter and help out. But another dynamic I wanted to bring up was that my son, he's in Boy Scouts, and he's going to be working on his eagle. And I know about 6 boys had gotten their eagle doing projects through the shelter, helping out, building something, volunteering, running food drives, clothes. So I just wanted to bring that up. I didn't know if people are aware of that the shelter is not only helps out the homeless, but it's been helping out a lot of the Boy Scouts earn their eagle. And it's pretty important. My son will be working on his eagle this year, and his project, he'll be making shelves in one of the shelters, and helping out with organizing, keeping things available when one of the homeless persons might want something. It'd be easy for them just to go right to that shelf and get it for them. I just wanted to bring that up and let everybody be aware of that. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Linda Crott. Okay, Linda, thank you. Grant Suze. I'm sure I mispronounced that.
You did, but perfectly fine.
I'm sorry, Grant. How do you say it?
Seuss.
Seuss. So what we want is state your name and let us know if you live in Oak Lawn.
Sure. Again, my name is Grant Seuss, and I am an Oak Lawn resident. I also had built a storage closet type thing for pads doing my Eagle project back when I was a wee lad. And I currently volunteer with the organization at Pilgrim Faith Church about once a month. And I'm happy to say that thing is somehow still standing, which is absolutely remarkable. But tonight I just wanted to address the ordinance from, I think, somewhat of a different perspective, which is that beyond the specific clauses that have been changed, I think it's still fundamentally rooted in some real misperceptions. For one thing, and I apologize if I'm getting the story somewhat wrong, but reading the recent Southtown article about the proposal, I saw that it seems to be in response to fears that some kind of revolutionary guerrilla social servant agency might sneak into town and, under the cover of night, establish an overnight shelter in a residential home. Now, I guess that's conceivably possible, but that's not how things work. Social service agencies like PADS are committed community partners and they don't kick down doors and house the homeless without any oversight or conversation with everybody else. And I think the second misperception is a little more insidious and subtle, and that is a misperception about the homeless themselves. Now, when we say the word homeless, it already has a negative charge to it. We think these people are lazy, that they're dishonest, immoral, or possibly even criminal. And like we have started to see tonight, that is just not true. These people are veterans, they're domestic violence survivors, they're physically or mentally disabled. You know, they're the working poor or single parent families. Or maybe they have just had a run of extremely bad luck. And I know in the village's recent FAQ about the proposed shelter ordinance, it said that we're not pursuing this based on, unjustified or unfounded stereotypes or fears. But if you look really closely at the language of the ordinance and the language of that FAQ, you will see a lot of concerns about community safety, public safety, or even the aesthetics of the village. And my response to that is, what are the threats here? Or how does a homeless shelter ruin, or what is the threat from a homeless shelter to public safety if not for supposedly housing criminals? Or how does a homeless shelter ruin the aesthetics of the village if not for providing shelter to people who a lot of folks see as ugly or disreputable?
Thank you, Grant. Please, one more statement if you want to wrap it up, sir.
And I think finally the dead giveaway to me was this whole, shelters cannot be located within 500 feet of a school or daycare. I mean, in other words, we're basically treating homeless shelters like registered sex offenders. And that just seems absolutely absurd. So I think that beyond going through the individual clauses, this entire thing needs to be reconceptualized. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grant. Next is Steve Horger. Hi, Stephen. The microphone, state your name, please. Let us know if you're an Oak Lawn resident.
Steve Herger from Oak Forest. I pastor Salem United Church of Christ at 97th and Costner, and I am speaking to encourage the board to pass the amendments that were worked out. The ordinance, as it was stated originally, in no way mirrored reality. It would have immediately, if it was enforced, shut us all down. At least through a collaborative process with the mayor and Tina and others, Peggy, Terry, and I thank you. You've got something that kind of matches what we're doing. And so I think these amendments are very important. And more than that, I think the process you used to get to these amendments is most important. I think if that had been used from the very beginning, we would have saved a lot of time. And so my hope is that in the future, if there is any, we went pretty much 20 years without a big issue like this. And so in the future, if Tina is contacted, a couple site leaders are contacted, as well as a couple reasonable people from the village leadership, I don't think there's any issue that can't be worked out. I really believe that. These are all mature, caring people, and this document can be a background document. My fear is that, it could be used as something other than that, but I do trust you at your word that that's really what this is intended to be, a background document. In the future, I just encourage that collaborative process that took place in the last couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tina Rounds. Hi, if you could state your name, let us know if you live in Oak Lawn, please.
Hi, my name's Tina Rounds. I'm the Director of Beds, and I do not live in Oak Lawn. Really, many of the sentiments that I was hoping to bring up were shared, but one thing I want to pause and say a thank you to Pastor Peggy, who we should all give a round of applause to, without whom this the community would not be the same. Certainly, the document that we're believing is going to be voted on tonight would not look the same. And, the shelter system would not exist in the first place. So I think we all owe you a debt of gratitude. And what I'm hoping to also urge you is to support these revisions because they are representing more of the standard operating procedures. While, we don't support having an ordinance in order to regulate shelters done in churches. I want to just tell you that we'll be committed as a social service agency to making it work. And we hope that you will be too. That we want to balance not only the need for helping people who need shelter and social services, but also reasonably do our work within the priorities of the community. And I think we've expressed that, and we've tried to do that, and we'll continue to do that. I want to let you know that we're committed to that. But we're also, everyone in this room, and I know many of the people that you've spoken with and have heard from, and I want to thank you for your time in doing that, we'll be looking for you to keep your commitments too, because I know many conversations have happened around, reasonable administration of this ordinance, around flexibility with the churches who have financial resources that are limited, and also honoring this long tradition of a partnership we do have. We're looking for the elected officials, the village manager, to continue to partner with us and not utilize this ordinance as a way to criminalize homelessness. So I thank you for your time, and I'd invite you to come into our shelter at any time and volunteer with us and be a part of this wonderful effort to help community members. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Donna Petrie? Hi, Donna.
Hello, my name is Donna Petrie. I'm at 9416 South Colmar Avenue in Oakland. I've been there since the early 1960s. I'd like to ask the village, what is their plan for displaced homeless individuals when the heavy restrictions placed on the current sites cause closings and guests to have nowhere to stay overnight in the winter? And does the Village of Oak Lawn and Board of Trustees have an alternate plan to put in place to avoid individuals freezing to death in the winter? I have been on the board. I've been with South Suburban PADS for over 27 years. I had been a member of the board when Mike Wasserberg and Geraldine Powers were the executive directors. And so I, had been around for a number of years. But I've been now with Beds Plus, Tina Rounds, and seen what she's done for the short period of time that she's been with the homeless shelters on the north tier here. She's done a wonderful job for the short period of time that she's taken over here. Last season and this season, I'd like to see Oak Lawn give her a chance and she's to continue on with the wonderful work she's done in a short period of time. Their mission really is to give housing for the guests, which they have already accomplished a marvelous job with that. I think she had mentioned last week with the Planning and Development Board that they found 40 housing situations for our guests. The numbers are really wonderful. South Suburban PADS was not doing the job. Not doing it at all. They were, so I'll get off that little bandwagon. But anyway, so I'd like to see Oak Lawn work and not make it difficult for the current sites or for these little churches that we have on board now. There's some that I won't be able to continue being a site. So when they drop off, it's going to be hard for some additional sites to stay on board. Our Mayor Sandra Burr gave me the courtesy call. I missed it, but she just had been back in town from being out of town on her mission work with the eye doctor work that she does and I'm a little nervous speaking now, but anyhow, she gave me a courtesy call, and I missed it, but it went to voicemail. But she gave me a call, and I really thank you very much for doing that as soon as you came back down. But you're a member of the Southwest Conference of Mayors, and I know I had given Flo Breitbart the list of all the mayors and everything from 2009, when I had been on one of the committees when we were looking for a permanent shelter for sites in the southwest area. And maybe the mayors in other towns and you could get your heads together. Maybe we could solve some of this housing situation and take some of the sites out, in other towns and take the burden off of them. But at one point I wanted to bring up, the police chief made a statement at the other meeting last week as if we had a lot of homeless problems, our homeless guests causing problems in Oak Lawn. And I'll tell you, I live 1 block from the emergency entrance to Christ Hospital. Over the years, you've had rapes, you've had murders, you've had all kinds of problems over at Christ Hospital because of the emergency entrance and the problems with the gangs and their friends coming over to that area. Now, it's well lit now, and they've made some inroads and made a lot of improvements, but a lot of the calls and a lot of the problems coming into Oak Lawn are not from our homeless guests. So I'd like that point to be made. And,
Thank you.
Anyway, is my time up?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Terry Voiderer is a volunteer at one of our sites, and he gave me the courtesy of a call, too. I'd really like to thank you, Terry, also.
Thank you.
But it isn't our homeless guests that's causing all these problems in Oak Lawn. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Flo Breitbart. Hello.
Hi, I'm Flo Breitbarth. I am from Chicago Ridge. For about 4 years, I was site manager at St. Mark, so I saw it from that side. Now I am currently an employee of Beds, and I see the other side of the table. And my concern with this ordinance is I made almost 100 calls trying to find 2 new sites. We were able to get them because of the generosity of the pastors in Oak Lawn. Oak Lawn has got the biggest base of churches that we could contact. I'm afraid with this restriction, if we lose a site, we're not going to be able to fill that void, and that'll put our people on the street, and they need to have a safe harbor at night. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Megan Hughes.
My concerns were addressed, sir.
Okay, thank you, Megan. And last is Mary McNamara. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how you doing? Hi, my name is Mary McNamara, and I am a resident of Oak Lawn. I think I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm not really involved. You're doing a lot of great work with the homeless and those needy people, but just in disclosure, I'm not really involved in any of those programs. And so I just am just simply a resident of Oak Lawn, and I just wanted to thank the board because I can see that you're involved in a very, difficult problem. Anytime you're representing all of the interests of all of the people in Oak Lawn, you have a lot of things to balance, in fairness to everyone. And so I just wanted to thank the board for keeping these safety concerns and health of all the residents in mind. And of course, because of that, everyone's not going to be happy. So listening to this ordinance today, I would be in support. And I think it kind of is fair and balances the needs of all parties. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's the conclusion of public comments. We're going to do conflict of interest disclosure, and then I'm going to ask for a motion to advance item 14, so if we could. So item 3 is public comments. Item 4 is conflict of interest disclosure. Does anyone have a conflict to disclose with any item on tonight's agenda? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to advance item 14? Thank you. That was trustee Oliniechek who
Second.
made the motion, seconded by trustee Vorderer. We're going to go on then to item 4. Oh, let's take the roll, please. Thank you.
Trustee Strite?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, 14 is ordinance 172072, an ordinance granting the amendment to Title 4 of the Village Code of Oak Lawn to allow for the addition of Chapter 16, temporary overnight shelters. May I have a motion on 14?
Mayor?
please? Trustee Warder.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move forward with this ordinance with the corrections and amendments that were put into this ordinance after a lot of hard work with our pastors here in this community. It may not be a perfect document, but as a man who's been involved in the PADS program since its conception, 1997, who hasn't given him a lot of his time, but gives time and money and food to the Salem Church. I support the whole concept and program, but as an elected representative, I have fielded many, many concerns from my constituents about different issues that the program caused. And I feel that we've worked very, very hard with this. I think it maybe wasn't a perfect document to begin with, but it is a much better document. They say that any contract that everybody agrees on is not a perfect contract. We all accept it, and we keep an open mind to make amendments to this as we move forward. So I would like to make a motion, Mayor,
I'll second it.
to approve the contract.
Okay, so trustee Warder, just to clarify, you're making an motion with the amendments that Kevin read earlier.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Council, do we need to read those amendments one more time, or we're good? Thank you. Very good. So we have a motion by trustee Warder, second by trustee Oliniechek for an amended motion. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I know that there's been a lot of work on this ordinance from at least since it was initially proposed, and I appreciate all of the work that has been done. I did read the minutes from the Planning and Development meeting, 3.5-hour meeting that preceded this, and I heard from countless residents in our community and volunteers that they would like more time to work out the details of the ordinance. Now, I know that there's clearly a number of people seem to be satisfied that many of these things have been worked out, and it's a good step in the right direction, but having more time to work out the details seems to me to be a reasonable request. I am concerned about the telephone call that the manager received yesterday from the HUD regional office regarding this ordinance. Yesterday, the manager told us that this was a serious issue, and he would let us know how this might affect the $275,000 in annual CBG monies that we receive. Today, we know that while HUD requested a meeting to discuss this ordinance, they have yet to confirm when that will happen. I think that's reason enough for us to table the ordinance until after that meeting takes place. This will also provide additional time to work out any other issues with the local clergy regarding the shelter. So I would prefer to table this ordinance at this time.
Okay, so we have a motion to table by trustee Straight. Is there a second? Is there a second? Okay, motion fails for lack of a second. Any further discussion on this? Let's call the vote, please.
Trustee Strite?
No.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. So we're going to move back up to the agenda. If anyone came here for that and you want to stay for the entire meeting, you're welcome to, but you don't need to. You're welcome to stay.
You got a minute?
Hi, Ron. Thank you.
Hey. Ron, how are you? Are you able to speak a little bit? Okay. You have what? I will make sure that we get street lights on 95th Public. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll get that taken care of. It's probably,
I see you, Ron.
probably a circuit. I'll get someone.
Oh, yeah, John.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you,
We care
sir.
very deeply about their continued success.
Really supposed to stay for the meeting. Are you going to?
Thank you.
How you doing, Ron? Thank you. Thanks for coming. I hope we resolve something.
Hey, Ron. How are you? Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we'll be fine.
Chief Palmer, if you could start making your way to the podium. We still have probably another minute or two. Okay, thank you. So we're back to item 5. Item 5 is Oakland Police Department commendations for Police Officer Paul Sahaki. I know I said it wrong again.
Sahaki.
Got it?
Sahaki.
Sorry, I'm so bad at this. Police Officer James O'Brien.
If I could get both of the officers to step up, please. You don't have to put your hat.
Chief Palmer.
Fire chief is coming out.
Oh, boy.
You okay?
Fire chief is out.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for coming. I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to recognize the officers that we're going to recognize tonight. I'd like to do this more often to show the residents actually what your officers are doing. So with that, I'd like to introduce Paul Sahaki and Jim O'Brien. With that, I'll try to do this quickly because I know I don't want to run this too late. 19 September 2017 at approximately 1:10, I would say 13:10, but some people don't know what that is. 1:10 p.m., Oak Lawn units monitored an Alsa PD dispatch of an armed robbery in progress at Ray's Towing, 4340 West 127th Street. Moments after the initial dispatch, Alsa PD advised the responding units that shots were fired at the location and 2 people had been shot. Alsa PD put out a flash message that a gray Dodge Challenger with damage on the driver's side rear quarter panel was seen in the area. Officer Paul Sahaki immediately began to check escape routes from the Alsip location through Oak Lawn. While monitoring traffic on Pulaski Road, Officer Sahaki observed a gray Dodge Challenger traveling north on Pulaski Road from 109th Street. Officer Sahaki made a U-turn behind the vehicle and observed damage to the vehicle's rear end. Officer Sahaki followed the vehicle north on Pulaski Road, providing communications of its location, vehicle description, and direction of travel. As Officer Sahaki waited for backup, the vehicle was stopped for the red light north on Pulaski Road at 103rd Street. Once the light turned green, the vehicle fled at a high rate of speed. Officer Hockey, now joined by Officer Pickowitz, Officer James O'Brien, and Officer David Sass of the Evergreen Park PD, pursued the vehicle north on Pulaski to 95th Street, where it turned traveling east into Evergreen Park. The pursuit continued east on 95th Street, and the vehicle turned south onto Central Park, where it came to a stop in front of 9528 South Central Park. The driver and lone occupant of the vehicle exited and fled on foot west through the backyard at 9528 South Central Park. Officer Sass and Officer Sahaki pursued the subject on foot, giving their location and direction of travel. Officer O'Brien proceeded to 9523 South Millard, where he set up a perimeter and observed the subject running west through the yard with Officer Sass in pursuit. Officer O'Brien confronted the subject along with Officer Sass and began to give verbal orders. The subject complied with Officer O'Brien's order to lay on the ground, at which time Officer O'Brien handcuffed and took the subject into custody. A witness to the pursuit reported observing the driver throwing a black handgun from the vehicle in the 9800 block of Pulaski. A black semi-automatic .45 caliber handgun was in fact recovered. The recovered handgun was found to match the caliber of the handgun used in the shooting. As the incident was being investigated, it was learned that one of the victims succumbed to his injuries and was reported deceased. The second victim was shot 7 times and underwent surgery to repair major injuries. South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force conducted the investigation into this tragic incident. The subject apprehended was later identified as the offender and was charged with first-degree murder. Due to the brave actions and courage of Officer Paul Sahaki and Officer Jim O'Brien, an extremely dangerous person with no regard to human life was apprehended and taken off the streets. Officer Paul Sahaki and Officer Jim O'Brien are most deserving of an Oak Lawn Police Department commendation. And these are the guys that make me proud, make me look good. So, Paul, I want you to stay up here. I got another one for Paul, and then I got a quick one for one of our female officers. Officer Paul Sahaki, on October 16, 2017, Officer Paul Sahaki loaded his squad car at the beginning of his shift and headed southbound on 52nd Avenue to start routine patrol on his assigned post. At 7:22, Officer Sahaki was southbound 52nd Avenue, continuing through 103rd Street, where he saw a frantic, panicking citizen. Officer Sahaki made contact with the citizen who resided at 10304 South Laramie to assist him. Officer Sahaki observed that the citizen had uncontrollable bleeding from his left wrist. Officer Sahaki determined that time was of the most importance because he assessed the visible loss of blood. Officer Sahaki used his training and personal tourniquet to reduce the blood loss. It was learned that the victim had lacerated his wrist with a circular saw. The Oak Lawn medics arrived on scene and continued the medical aid. Medics added that if the tourniquet was not applied and the bleeding continued, the victim may have succumbed to the injury. Any response to an emergency is inherently stressful. Officer Sahaki was able to arrive and render emergency medical aid under a tremendous amount of stress. Officer Sahaki was able to rely on his preparation and equipment to save a life. Officer Paul Sahaki is well deserving of the recognition of a job well done and is most deserving of an Oak Lawn Police Department commendation. Next, I'd like to bring up one of our...
Can I interrupt? I think I
Absolutely.
see some family here.
Absolutely.
Can we introduce family?
Absolutely. Paul, go ahead.
Sure, thank you.
Paul first.
My lovely girlfriend Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
This is my son Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
That's Adam.
Hi, Adam.
This is Michael.
Michael.
Mike.
Wow.
Back here. And my dad's right there.
Thank you. Just bursting with pride.
Jim, you got anybody you want to introduce, Jim?
O'Brien. Hi.
That I'd like to bring up one of our female officers.
Thanks. I'm going to read the item on the agenda. Item 6, Law Enforcement Excellent Task Force Award for Operation Over the Top, Detective Christine McGuire.
So Officer McGuire is actually assigned to one of our field divisions for the DEA, and her ASAC, who's actually, is it Assistant Special Agent in Charge, is how we say that? Mark Guffrey is here. He actually represented, he's Christine's boss. Christine's what we call a TFO, a Task Force Officer. So we loan her to the DEA, and she helps provide a lot of the crime fighting that we get at the federal level. So without the local law enforcement working with our federal counterparts, we would be at a loss. So it is great partnership that we have with the DEA, the FBI, and many of the other federal agencies. So I commend all of them for the work they do. So with that, I'm going to read just a short thing. This is a whole page, so I'm going to try to condense this as quick as I can. But there was an award that was presented at what they call the Stars of Distinction Awards dinner on Thursday, November 16, 2017, downtown. And it's given by the Chicago Crime Commission. And the Chicago Crime Commission is a very prestigious organization that awards every year to many different organizations and individuals who work to fight the drug crimes. So with that, Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force, which we call OCDF, Operation Over the Top, was a joint local and federal investigation targeting 3 Mexican cartels that were supplying fentanyl and heroin to violent street gangs in Chicago, further fueling turf wars and violence. This case was initiated by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, Chicago Field Division Enforcement Group 32, which is a financial investigations group. This group is comprised of DEA personnel as well as deputized task force officers from the Chicago Police Department, Cook County Sheriff's Department, Aurora Police Department, Addison Police Department, Oak Lawn Police Department, Des Plaines Police Department, Prospect Heights Police Department, working closely with the United States Attorney's Office, Northern District of Illinois. The investigation attacked and dismantled cell members of the Colima Cartel, Los Rojos Cartel, and Guerreros Unidos Cartel, who formed ad hoc alliances to orchestrate the movement of massive quantities of pure heroin and deadly synthetic opioids, fentanyl, from Mexico to the Chicagoland area and beyond. Cartel members smuggled heroin concealed in commercial truck trailer axles from Mexico to Chicago, where it was distributed to violent Chicago street gangs. Cartel members also devised a method of concealing heroin and fentanyl inside a hand-carved wooden picture and sculptures, which were then smuggled from Mexico to Chicago in passenger vehicles by a network of couriers who often made multiple high-risk runs to bring the deadly substances to the Chicago area. To date, this investigation has resulted in the arrest of 33 key cartel operatives on weapons, narcotics, and laundering charges, seizure of 9 firearms, 204 kilos of heroin, 500 fentanyl tablets, 43 kilos of cocaine, over $900,000. This investigation continues, focused on fentanyl and heroin sources and supply, targeting for prosecution those who profit off the disease and misery of addiction. This outstanding teamwork by a combined effort of local and federal law enforcement officers and prosecutors dismantled a violent Mexican cartel wholesale heroin distribution network operating in the Chicagoland area that was supplying hundreds of kilos of heroin per month to violent street gangs who were feeding the heroin epidemic in our communities. A recent Roosevelt University study found that 1 person a day dies of heroin overdose in Chicago, and 1 person every 3 days dies in Chicago suburbs from a heroin overdose. Operations such as Over the Top that dismantle violent wholesale heroin distribution groups supplying violent street gangs make our community safer and make it clear to criminal organizations that profiting from the enslavement of addiction is not acceptable in our community. Officer Christine McGuire is most deserving of this award. Thank you very much, Christine.
Thank you. I just want to, my wonderful husband, George Skripik, my Aurora University friends, and my Paw Paw Lake friends all came out here.
Yay.
And
Yeah.
Cindy Actor, guys. Please support. There's no way I'd be able to do this shit. So I'm really blessed.
Thank you.
He's great.
Christine. I'm one of her Paw Paw Lake friends. I just wanted to.
And she just took the sergeant's test. She's telling me, well, you know, if I get promoted, they want to keep me down there. And I said, well, we already had one guy who was a very good operative, Pat Kern, and we had to bring Pat back, unfortunately. But I would definitely try to go to the board and try to make that fight because, I mean, you can see the great work they're doing. But this is what I like to do is come to these meetings and bring these folks out and show you what a fantastic job that your police officers doing on a daily basis, and they make us all look good. And I mean, Terry knows. Terry was a former police officer for 30 years, and you put good people around you, and they make you look good, and they make me look good every day. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Chief, I do want to compliment your team on, because I did hear that a former mayor of the village of Oak Lawn was given a speeding ticket, so you hold us all accountable. So I appreciate that.
Oh, my. I want to thank also all the friends and officers who came to show support, and thank you one and all for the wonderful work you do. We really appreciate it. Any other comments before I move on? Okay. Thank you. We're on item 8, please. Yeah, no one has to stay if they don't want to. Item 7.
Find support, fast response.
Item 7 is approval of meeting minutes for the closed meeting minutes, 2017-11, dated October 10th, 2017. May I have a motion on 7, please?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Abstain.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vore?
Yes.
Motion passes 501.
Item 8 is approval of the meeting minutes for the regular meeting minutes 2017-18 dated October 24th, 2017. May I have a motion on 8, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Warder made that motion,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Abstain.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Warder?
Yes.
Motion passes 501.
9 is approval of the meeting minutes for the special meeting minutes 2017-19 dated October 25th, 2017. May I have a motion on 9, please?
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Warder made that motion,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Abstain?
Trustee Desmond?
Abstain.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Warder?
Yes.
Motion passes 402.
Thank you. Item 10 is a motion to approve after the Board of Trustees in executive session, number 2017-12 dated October 24th, 2017, reviewed for the release of minutes of closed meetings from June 14th, 2010, number 1008, April 18th, 2011, number 1106, June 14th, 2011, number 1109, July 12th, 2011, number 1111, August 9th, 2011, number 1112, August 30th, 2011, number 1114, September 13th, 2011, number 1115, October 11th, 2011, number 1116, November 21st, 2011, number 1118, December 13th, 2011, number 1120, January 10th, 2012, number 1201, February 14th, 2012, number 1204, February 28th, 2012, number 1205, March 13th, 2012, number 1206, April 10th, 2012, number 1207, April 24th, 2012, number 1208, May 8th, 2012, number 1209, May 13th, 2014, 1404, June 10th, 2014, number 1405, February 25th, 2015, number 1502, March 10th, 2015, 1503, March 24th, 2015, number 1504, August 11th, 2015, number 1506, October 13th, 2015, number 1507, November 24th, 2015, number 1508, January 12th, 2016, number 1601, May 24th, 2016, number 1605, July 12th, 2016, number 1607, August 9th, 2016, number 1608, September 13th, 2016, number 1609, September 27th, 2016, number 1610, and October 25th, 2016, 1611, November 22nd, 2016, number 1612, December 13th, 2016, number 1613, January 10th, 2017, number 1701, January 24th, 2017, number 1702, February 14th, 2017, number 1703, April 11th, 2017, number 1705, April 25th, 2017, number 1706, May 23rd, 2017, number 1707, June 13th, 2017, number 1708, and August 8th, 2017, number 1709, that the need for confidentiality still exists. May I have a motion, please, on item 10?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. That was Trustee Stalker who made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Desmond, thank you. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Warder?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 11 is new business by village trustees. We're going to start in District 1. Trustee Desmond.
No business.
Thank you. District 2, Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes, I have a great announcement. It's going to be great, but it's going to take a little bit of pain as we go through it. You'll see that we have some pipe that was built and made in America that is going to put construction people to work that are Americans and are union. And we're going to start our water project that's going to start, the lanes are going to close on Southwest Highway from 49th to 55th Court, starting the 20th of this month. With the actual construction that will start the week after Thanksgiving. So as you can see, that encompasses a large part of Southwest Highway, and it's all going to be done on the south side. So both eastbound lanes, both eastbound lanes will be closed, one lane open in each direction of travel on the north side. Right turns only within construction zone. We're projecting that we're going to do 100 to 200 feet a day, and that depends upon weather and soil. The streets that are going to be involved, there were notification to the residents both 2 blocks north and south of where this is going to be. And there are going to be travel restrictions for the affected neighborhood. There's going to be no through traffic and local traffic where you see along the blue arrows along the bottom. So it's quite a large project that, Larry, what is the projected completion date of this first phase of putting in the pipe?
Well, this is part of what's called Phase 4A that will extend all the way from the starting point that you see on the map and extend all the way down to the Ridgeland area and the Chicago Ridge-Oak Lawn border. This project will be well into 2018 and extend into 2019 to complete this work. Each one of those pipes that Trustee Olenichek showed weighs 8,000 pounds. It's only 25 feet in length. So very methodical process, as the trustee said. Soil conditions underneath this road will also determine our speed in getting the job done. So we are going to need patience and help from residents. Notification has been given within a two-block perimeter on either north or south side of the Southwest Highway in this zone.
So needless to say, it's a project that needs to be done. There's not a good time to go ahead and start it, but this is the best time that we can go ahead and move forward with it. And the importance of this is this will be the first leg of our redundancy on, that's called the West Loop, coming into our water project that will be able to modernize our water system. When this water system was built in the 70s, it was built to handle 25% of what we're handling on a daily basis right now. Back then, I don't remember it well, but Terry, maybe you could tell me a little bit about that time. Orland and Tinley and New Lenox were pretty much just farmland back then. And those are some of our largest users. But the forefathers of this village were very smart in making sure that we started to pump water going that far back. We are the #1 producer, or actually pumping station of water for the downstream customers. And I'd like to compliment that our staff has done a great job, because prior to the staff getting involved, the expense of projects was shared equally throughout the various suburbs that were involved in it. Now it's a fair share, where the further down the line, they pay more for this infrastructure improvement than us as the residents of the village of Oak Lawn pay for this. So Larry, do you want to just briefly touch on how this is paid?
It's paid through your water rates, and as the trustee indicated, Oak Lawn has 12 regional municipal customers, and with this project's completion, we will increase our capacity. So in a peak day, usually summertime, we'll be able to pump 100 million gallons of water a day if and when that demand reaches that level, which is not forecast into the 2040, 2050 range of this century. So it is truly a generational project, and it has safety features to it, the redundancy that the trustee indicated. Right now, it's what's called a single point of failure. We've seen that in Boston. We've seen that in Houston, where there's only a single line serving communities. And if a break occurs underneath the Cat Bag or a riverway or a waterway, it could take upwards of 7 to 10 days to repair that, and you've limited water for those customers. This will allow you to loop redundancy or route the water to the customers from a secondary piping system. So very important feature which never existed in the original system. And we certainly appreciate the leadership of the mayor and the board, and also unanimous approval from each of our municipal customers. That's over 65 locally elected officials, mayors, and trustees all voted unanimously to support this project. Though it does increase water rates. It is something that is needed and essential for the future. Very visionary.
And the final thing I'd like to add is I have talked with Chief Palmer, and the police department understands the difficult matter of traffic flow and handling that. And they do understand how it's going to create possible traffic issues in other parts of Oak Lawn where people are going to try to stay away from Southwest Highway. So if history is true, 91st Street and 95th Street will become areas of opportunity. So I'd like to thank the village staff for putting all of their heads together to come up with a win-win in a very positive project, although it's going to hurt us residents of the village of Oak Lawn during the traffic flow because of the construction. Once the construction is done, we will be a lot better. And we're going to get new Southwest Highway. Thank you.
Thank you. District 3.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge former trustee Ron Stanzik, who was with us here earlier tonight in the audience and didn't know I was going to say anything. And if he did, he would have left anyway. But Ron, that's the way he is, a very humble man. But he served as a trustee here from 1977 to 2003, and he served as acting mayor from 2003 to 2005. I don't think any one trustee has done more to improve the quality of life here in Oak Lawn than Ron Stanzik. His commitment to clean air and clean water through the creation of the Environmental Concerns Committee has led to our present-day landscape ordinance, Oak Lawn hiring a full-time arborist on staff, and Oak Lawn being recognized as a tree city every year since. Ron was also instrumental in getting the metro station built and increasing the train schedule for the Southwest line. Through the years, Ron has been active in Pilgrim Faith Church and was an early proponent of providing shelters for the homeless. Ron was always a visionary and constantly developing new initiatives to make Oak Lawn a better place to live. I'm grateful for his service to Oak Lawn and hopeful that one day he'll get the recognition that he rightly deserves. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. District 4.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. First off, Alex, I want to thank you for all your effort, time, and work, along with the village staff on this major water project, close to $200 million. And you're right, when my father first bought a house in Oak Lawn, right after the Second World War, I remember a pump, okay, that brought the water up from the ground. So I've been around for a long time to see it all. And I got to echo your feelings about Ron Stanzik. He was a low-profile, dynamic individual that led from behind. He certainly deserves some type of recognition. This week I had the opportunity to attend a couple of veteran events. As we all know, the 11th was Veterans Day. Not only did I attend the ceremony here on our village green, but I was invited to be a speaker at a couple of the local junior high schools, Burbank Liberty School and Oak Lawn Hometown School. And in attendance were, at those schools, were hundreds of veterans. And I got to tell you, I was very proud to be able to speak in front of them because they are truly a band of brothers and great guys. But what really impressed me the most is that these schools and the leadership of these schools take the time to create an assembly of all their students and recognize veterans. That's very important for the next generation to understand the sacrifice and the commitment that people make, okay, to this country to protect our freedoms, our liberties, and our peace. So I want to thank those schools and say that I'm honored to be in attendance to be there. I'm honored to be a veteran, and I'm honored to be part of that elite group that served this country. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. District 5.
Yeah, just real quickly, the Saturday after Thanksgiving is Small Business Saturday. That's the time for you to shop Oak Lawn. I hope you
Isn't every day that time, sir?
Well, yeah, this is just a special time. Just a special time and an excuse to talk about it. Keep the Oak Lawn businesses in mind as the Christmas season is approaching. Every penny you spend in Oak Lawn helps the village to defer other expenses, including your property taxes, so I hope you'll shop local, shop small. Thank you.
Thank you. District 6.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to item 12, Village Manager's Report. Larry?
Mayor, I only have one comment, and I'll get in trouble with this one, so I'll make a broad statement. First of all, I'm always pleased when the mayor and the board bring young men and women from our high schools up here and give recognition, and we do that frequently, and I'm always glad to see students from higher education here and also from secondary school on their programs, usually in political science or government. But I would be remiss if I did not recognize Marist High School and the achievement of their high school women's, ladies volleyball team that won the state championship and beat the defending national championship. Mother McCauley, also a powerhouse in that field of women's volleyball. So I salute them. And then I want to give recognition to an interesting fellow who I believe you're going to hear a lot more about, who's a graduate of Richards High School and went on to the University of Wisconsin and played his football at Wisconsin from 2004 to 2007. And that gentleman, Sean Lewis, is currently the co-offensive coordinator in his second year at Syracuse University. He is distinguished and well-recognized as one of the rising leaders at the college level. And I salute Sean and his family. If you go to the website of Syracuse University, a fine institution academically and in athletics, he proudly displays Oak Lawn as his home. So congratulations, Sean, on a wonderful job this year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Larry. Item 13 is our consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are routine or have been brought forward at the direction of the Board of Trustees and will be enacted with one motion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Item 13A is a request to approve the Traffic Review Committee referral for no parking except for the resident of 9323 South Neva Avenue. A 6-0 vote to approve. Item TC 1257M, like Mary. Selman Elmazi is the petitioner in District 1. 13B, Ordinance 172071, an ordinance approving certain traffic regulations, no parking except for the resident of 9323 South Neva Avenue. 13C, Resolution 172068, a resolution approving a lease agreement between the Village of Oak Lawn and Mancary's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Incorporated at 4440 Southwest Highway. 13D is Resolution 172069, resolution approving a release and settlement agreement in James Leichel versus Village of Oak Lawn et al., case number 2017 CV, like Victor, 1909. 13E is a request to hire 3 firefighter paramedics due to retirements and subsequent promotions. May I have a motion, please, on item 13?
So moved.
Thank you. That was Trustee Stalker? Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Vorder. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to remove item 13C for discussion.
Okay, item 13C. Any other discussion? Okay, let's take that vote, please. All items except 13C on the consent agenda.
Trustee Stripe?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 13C is Resolution 172068, a resolution approving a lease agreement between the Village of Oak Lawn and Mancary's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Incorporated at 4440 Southwest Highway. May I have a motion, please, on 13C?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion. Trustee Stalker is our second. Any discussion here?
Yes, Mayor.
Trustee Straight.
Wondering how many responses we had to the RFP for that leased property.
We did not have an RFP. We did list the property with a realtor, and that was action that was approved by the board at an earlier meeting. As the construction of the water plant continued and there was more activity, most of the interested parties were in the medical field. They liked the proximity to Advocate, but they wanted really to see the completion of the water plant. And so we were approached by Mr. Mancari, and I presented the board, I think probably 6 weeks ago, with his proposal where he would basically be expanding his business by using this site to professionally photograph and detail vehicles that then would be offered for purchase through the internet. And presented that to the board, and that's why that's before you at this point.
And the reason I ask is, over the years, I think we all know that every car dealer has expressed, they all need additional space to park cars. That's probably one of the most in-demand things that there is space to park vehicles. And I just think that everyone should have had an opportunity to have the opportunity to enter into a lease with the village. I think everybody should have been given that chance. I think the part that surprises me the most is the amount of the lease. I think that anyone would have been willing to pay more than $500 a month for that property. It seems to be worth quite a bit more.
Let me expound on that a little bit.
Sure.
First of all, there never was an intent to use the property for storage. So this isn't storage. There will be vehicles on the site. Under the lease term, he has the ability to do that, but he's utilizing the building. So the building is going to be utilized for a fairly sophisticated direction that not only Mancari, but I believe other dealerships will be going into, where every single day they're all over the United States with their trailers, marketing and bringing and buying, selling vehicles in other parts of the country and bringing them here and expanding their inventory for Oak Lawn area customers. So that was a new concept. We weren't approached by any other dealerships, but truthfully, we did not do an RFP out there. And certainly, I guess we're in contact with dealers every day, but I didn't have any calls looking for more storage in that location.
He's got, the lot is currently full of cars from Gary also. So if he wasn't intending to use it for storage, he surely is now.
Well, if you recall, and again, I informed the board that in the interim stage, while construction was underway at the water plant, we were able to get some revenue. We worked with Kelly Nissan, and we also worked with Mr. Mancari and the former Beatty property. But when the Advocate deal started to mature, then there was a need on the part of Advocate and that landowner to move cars out of that area and find other alternative sites. So Steve works with all the car dealers on looking at other opportunities.
Hi, Steve, can you speak into the microphone, please?
It's actually not a, oh, thank you. If I could also add, Mayor and Trustee Straight, Mr. Mancari has committed to investing over $150,000 in digital photo booth, actually is, as well as maintaining and beautifying the building and the property as well at the request of Manager Deachin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one question. Did any other car dealerships approach you? Did you approach this car dealership?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Let's call that vote, please, on 13C.
Trustee Stride?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. This brings us to item 15, which is Resolution 17-2070, resolution waiving the competitive bidding requirements for the purchase of certain equipment from Superion LLC and Minor Electronics Incorporated, providing connectivity to the Village of Alsip into Oak Lawn Regional Emergency Communications. May I have a motion, please, on 15?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Stalker made that motion.
Second.
Second by Trustee Phelan. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Stride?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes.
16 is Resolution 17, 2071, a resolution waiving the competitive bidding requirements and authorizing the purchase of two 2018 Chevrolet Tahoes for the Oak Lawn Police Department from Hawk Ford. And please on 16.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Warder made that motion.
Second.
That was Trustee Oliniechek, I believe. Any discussion?
Chief, this is not taxpayer money buying these. This is the results of the girl we awarded, and money's coming out of confiscation funds from drug dealers.
That's correct.
Can you please speak into the microphone, Chief?
Her and another TFO as well, yes.
That's important for the taxpayers to know that.
Absolutely.
And that was about $85,000, am I correct?
Correct.
Good job, Chief, good job.
Thank you. Okay, any other discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Trustee Border?
Sorry, Tom.
Motion passes.
17 is Village Clerk's Report. May I have a motion, please? And, oops, I'm sorry, Jane, 17A.
Approval of semi-monthly disbursements, number 2017-21D, dated November 14th, 2017, in the amount of $8,333,595.37.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please, on 17A?
So moved.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion.
Second.
Seconded by that was Trustee Warder, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes. One more thing, Mayor. Last Tuesday on I-294, Illinois State Troopers Eduardo Reyes and John Jack Philbin saved a woman whose heart had stopped beating. Trooper Reyes administered CPR, and Trooper Philbin then arrived and used a defibrillator. The woman's heart started to beat again. Trooper Philbin had never before used a defibrillator on the job. He said he was just doing his job. Trooper Philbin is a lifelong Oak Lawn resident and a graduate of St. Catherine of Alexandria and Brother Rice High School. But best of all, Trooper Philbin is my godson. Thanks, Jack, for the great job. And happy Thanksgiving to all.
That it, Jane? Thank you. What a great story. Item 18, Village President's Report. 18A is a request to approve the local liquor advisory board referral for a Class F like Frank liquor license. This is restaurant, beer and wine only, with or without a bar, for Bona Beef LLC. This was a 5-0 vote to approve, located at 6235 West 95th Street in District 3.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Stalker is our second. Thank you. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 18B is ordinance 17-2073, an ordinance increasing the number of Class F like Frank liquor licenses that can be issued in the Village of Oak Lawn. Bona Beef LLC is located at 6235 West 95th Street. We have a motion on.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that
Second.
motion. Trustee Stalker is our second. Any discussion? Let's take that vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. General Village Matters. Trustee Stalker, I appreciate you talking about Small Business Saturday. We need everyone to shop Oak Lawn as much as possible. When you shop online, and it's very convenient, it's very easy, but just remember, not a penny of that money comes back into the community. If you shop at your local mom and pop stores and your neighborhood stores, they're the one hiring your neighbors, supporting your children's little league teams. They're out there with your community. More than half, not quite, I think 2/3 comes back to the community. So consider just our local stores. They really do need your support, and everyone's kind of changing their buying habits, and people complain, I want more retail in Oak Lawn, but they don't shop Oak Lawn. And if we want Oak Lawn to be vibrant, we all have to do our part and, support these businesses and restaurants who open up. I just want to comment, Fry the Coop is open. They have had a very interesting menu. If you like hot food, they've got the hottest. Now, they have some without the heat, but they use a Carolina Reaper pepper in their extremely hot sauce. So really, if you want a challenge, if you like heat, try that. I got about halfway through. But anyway, give them a try. They have wonderful food that is not spicy as well.
Madam Mayor, I do have a question.
Yes.
Do they smoke their reefer pepper?
Reaper.
Just want to make sure.
REAP like Paul ER.
Reaper, I'm sorry.
Reaper.
Sorry.
Carolina Reaper.
Sorry.
So habanero peppers have Scoville units, which is the unit of heat. It measures about 200,000 Scoville units. Trustee Olenichek, the Carolina Reaper pepper. Do you know how many Scoville units in that pepper?
24 million.
1.5 million. So it's
good guess.
considerably hotter than, but it's worth a try. So lastly, happy Thanksgiving. We have so much to be thankful in the village of Oak Lawn. I'm thankful for working with each of these folks up here with the board. I'm thankful for our first responders and the entire team at the village of Oak Lawn. Thank you very much, and thank you to the residents.
Mayor, one quick thing, it was pointed out to me that the chief was quick to help the person who fell
Yes.
down the stairs out there.
I saw Chief flip like a switch into safety mode.
Chief
and-
Sheets.
Yeah. Can you speak into the mic? Thank you.
I just want to say that it told Trustee Strike that it was individual that was, that he referred to the former mayor that actually slipped on the steps and had a saved on his head. So I'm not sure if he was transported, but our paramedics checked him out.
Thank you for the quick response. We hope he does very well, and very sorry to hear that. Okay, item 19, motion to adjourn. Thank you, Trustee Olenichek made that motion. Do I have a second? I think I heard it come from District 6. Thank you. Trustee Phelan?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We are